Hey, Zoomers, welcome back to World Zoom. So happy you could join me again today. It's been several weeks, I think 3 or 4 weeks since I've done a video. I'm just tired of it. Anyway, a topic popped up on my radar, which no one that watches my channel or has anything to do with the Philippines, should be surprised about. But for the first time in a while, it's actually hitting the mainstream news channels, both in country in the Philippines and also overseas at some of the foreign newspapers and articles that are talking about corruption in the Bureau of Immigration in the Philippines. Wow, what a surprise. I'm sure you guys are thinking, no, say it's not so. The Bureau of Immigration in the Philippines being corrupt and rife with corruption. I mean, we've known that for a decade. But some of the new charges are quite interesting in that on June 2nd, an actual group of Bureau of Immigration officials wrote a letter to President Marcos and informed him that the current commissioner, Joel Anthony Viado, is corrupt and using influence and corrupt business practices to run the Department of Immigration. Now, that is something new, that their own people are actually seeing the corruption for what it is and sending a letter for the president to be able to check that out. You may remember in 2002, there were complaints to the Philippine Ombudsman, which resulted in 45 Bureau of Immigration officials being sacked, being fired for corruption, but it didn't touch the top echelon of the Bureau of Immigration officials. Now there's going to be an investigation, maybe, from the president's office about corruption at the highest level. Now, the most recent commissioner just got fired by President Marcos for the exact same things, in addition to incompetence. That was Norman Tancinco, fired as well. But now the new commissioner, who was an undersecretary and assistant commissioner, took up that position, and now his own folks are saying that he's corrupt. So basically, the charges are that it was abuse, extortion, and corruption of foreigners. Now, I can tell you about that firsthand because I was wrongly picked up, there, and they got me, my family, for multiples of $10,000 and up through fake trumped up charges. Those monies would come in and go to my lawyer, and then my lawyer would place those directly into the secretaries and officials' bank accounts. Now, if that's not corruption, I don't know what is. But let me tell you how this works in the Philippines. Every Tuesday, the commissioner and his underlings meet in a big conference room all day. They have a big stack of paper of whatever charges. It's going to be deportations. It's going to be, a request for bail. It's going to be visa applications that are outside the normal realm of practice. Read here, POGOs, the Philippine Offshore Gaming organization, what the Chinese do, or pay bribes to these guys to get long-term visas when otherwise they're not qualified to be in the Philippines. That's one of the main charges against Viado in the current complaints. Now, part of me is thinking like, okay, maybe for the first time, there's BI officials that are fed up with the corruption in their own department. But the cynical side of me thinks, no, they're just not getting the hand down money. I mean, it's corrupt from top to bottom, left to right. So maybe these guys weren't getting their cut from the people above them. And so they decided to write a letter getting it to go back to the other way, where the money would trickle down, with the lion's share going to the commissioner and the money's going all the way down to the regional areas. That's what I think has happened here, is the guys have been cut off in their own corruption, and they're mad and want to change at the top. But there's also the participation with the Chinese in the POGO, the Philippine Offshore Gaming. That's been a hot topic for probably 3 or 4 years at this point. And if you ever have any question about that, just hit the casinos or see the areas or see the number of Chinese that are coming in. Now, we've seen some changes with that, with the reduction in visas the last time immigration got busted for all this. Then all of a sudden there was like a wholesale, trying to divest in all those condominiums that they'd scooped up, and they were getting just, pennies on the dollar trying to get out because they'd been kicked out of the country, the Chinese, so they were trying to get rid of their condominiums that they scooped up. So it looks like the same thing, same type of thing is happening again. Now, I really don't have any complaints about the Philippine Ombudsman. That's where the complaints go in about any government agency. I really only know about the immigration, and I didn't know about that till I experienced the corruption and the brutality firsthand. And I would caution you guys that are there and thinking everything is fine, especially if you're a YouTuber, that, you've really got to be cautious. If there's a government that's there that can arrest you with no arrest warrant, can hold you with no charges, can offer or not offer you bail, can withhold your medication, withhold food, withhold, any rights or any things that a normal prisoner would have. And we've already seen the charges from the U.S. Embassy to the Philippine government about the abuse of their citizens being held in captivity, the majority of which are there for not having really done anything wrong, just as a way to get money from them. So I would caution you guys that are there, again, I say because of the YouTubers, or any evidence of any wealth or any ability that you have monies, you are now a target of the police and the immigration while you're in the Philippines, because you don't have to do anything wrong to get arrested. There's no due process whatsoever. Just as the person came on and said, we're going to follow the due process for Vitaly, for the Russian vlogger that's still in custody there. It could be 2 years before you have any due process. So you either sit there and rot, or you pay your bribes, because your embassy is not going to help you. But there's a stack of papers there every Tuesday. If you've paid your bribe and paid your money, conveniently you work your way to the top. And that's how you're going to get bail or get a deportation order or get, out of trouble, whatever it may be. And then there are those that don't have the funds or elect not to go that route. And take a Barry Jordan, for example, or anyone else that's there, in Manila in the immigration hold. It can be months and months and months before you work your way to the legal system. Another fortunate thing I found in my experience with the Philippines legal system is once you actually get to the courts, yes, they are slow. They're very slow and super old-fashioned, very archaic rules and such, but they see it seems to be just, right? There's no money that you're going to pay to get yourself out of trouble at that point. The money has to come before to a different set of characters. So at least the Philippines has that going for them, that the legal system is awful. There's not enough defenders or lawyers. It moves very, very slow. 2 to 3 years. If you're a Filipino and you get yourself thrown in prison, it can be 2 to 3 years before you get to court. It's not that bad for the foreigners, but it's bad enough in those conditions, especially when, a majority of the people haven't done anything wrong to be in that position. The only thing they've done wrong is get themselves into the attention of the police or the immigration and been picked up on fake or trumped up charges. So it's nice to see some of these things come out. It's a known secret. Everybody knows, wink, wink, they're unbelievably corrupt, and you even know how much you have to pay to get out of a certain situation. But it is nice finally to see these guys called to task or being reported to their own president, about the corruption that's going on. But I don't know how you remedy at this point, because it's the commissioners, the assistant commissioners, it's each one of the regional guys. I sat in that holding facility for 4 or 5 hours, and I saw 40, 50 incidents of bribery just in the time that I sat there, mostly with Chinese bringing in big stacks of money with whatever paperwork they wanted. They'd grab the money, come to the back, divide it up between 4 of them. The money would go into the pocket, and the stamp would go on for whatever visa or whatever request they want, over and over and over. So these are guys that are making just peanuts, in their salary, but they're making millions, off their bribery, especially from foreigners that are paying a little bit, and mostly, of course, from the Chinese. So I'm glad the guy's been reported. Again, these are allegations. None of this has been approved, so we don't know, what's going to happen with that, or even if they're going to look into it. But it is pretty serious when your own people set and say exactly what he's doing. They are doing, with corruption in the BI. So anyway, you guys be careful over there. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.